Yo, what's going on? My name is Charlie McCormack. My bookshelf has just fallen down behind me before I started this. It's 12:51 on a Thursday afternoon, and I'm about to tell you exactly how Matt Gray makes hundreds of thousands of pounds every single month with his live workshop. It's a webinar funnel, and yet he barely talks about it anywhere. So I took it upon myself to go and get all the emails, the swipe files and everything, which I've got on this screen right here that I'm about to break down for you. So if you enjoy this video, then you will also enjoy my free newsletter that I have in the link in my bio. And I also share everything that we are actively doing for our webinar campaigns for info, coaches, consultants, everything like that, right? I won't keep any more of your time. I'm just gonna get into the video. Right, ladies and gents, here we are. Here is how Matt Gray makes $132,000 per month with his live workshops. Now, I'm pretty sure Matt has openly said somewhere that his revenue is like 600K. So a sixth of everything that he makes from all platforms, from his newsletter, LinkedIn, all his different products, comes from the hour a week that he spends once a month doing these live workshops. Now, before we fully go into the, where he gets his traffic from and how many followers he's got and whatever in the funnel, I want to talk a little bit about the theory behind this, because Matt does these workshops very differently to how most people in like the coaching, the info industry do their live workshops or live webinars. So what I went and did was I want to break down the theory behind this, right? So Matt positions his webinars as CEO coffee breaks. Now, the first time I saw this, I thought like, what the fuck is a CEO coffee break? It was like a year ago. I was like, what on earth is this? And then when I joined, I realized that it was simply just a webinar. Like, it wasn't a CEO coffee break at all. It was just you getting a bit of training and then getting pitched like you would on any webinar. So why does he frame it like this, right? And he does this because this is the framing that resonates the most with his ideal customer prospect of founders, right? Founders, coffee, CEO coffee breaks, free workshops. It's just a tweak on the messaging that he gets really right for his target audience. Like if you ever look at who enrolls in his programs or the kind of stuff that he puts out or the kind of people who respond to him, they're the kind of people who would love messaging and shit like this. Now, what Matt does differently to what most people do with their webinars, which is actually something that I think I could probably take away for doing this for my clients, is he will build stories around each of the workshops. So normally what most people do, and I touched upon it a bit here, so what most people do is they will just create a single webinar. And this is probably what you do if you do webinars. What most people do is they will just pick the 3 to 5 things that cover kind of like the high level mechanisms in their entire offer, right? So if I was gonna do a webinar on how to do webinars, I would talk about traffic, I would talk about the funnel, I would talk about the presentation, I would talk about the webinar itself, and then I would probably talk about the follow-up. And that would be my webinar on how to do webinars. Whereas what Matt does is he will take the core components from his offer and he will just focus on one topic from that. So for example, he has loads of different things like how to get traffic, how to personal brand, newsletter. But this one here, he said how to get more leads than you can handle. So he does a specific workshop on a specific topic rather than trying to cover everything on one webinar. So as you can see here, this is an email that I got from his email list saying, hey Charlie, I know you're busy, so this will be quick. Again, just kind of that messaging just towards founders, busy CEOs, CEO coffee break. This many people have already registered. Why is it worth 1 hour of my time here? Yeah, we booked all these sales calls, so doesn't mean anything tangible, so fuck that. It's a good email. Resonates with his ICP, right? But the first thing that came to mind for me when I was thinking about how much effort it must actually take him to do this is, to build out a great webinar, to build out a great webinar training, to build out the slideshow, the scripts and everything, it's pretty goddamn time consuming. But all he will do is turn like a YouTube video or a lead magnet that he's already done into a webinar presentation. So he's never actually doing it from scratch. And he does this so his audience doesn't get sick and tired of seeing the same old stuff over and over again, which is a pretty goddamn good strategy. And as you can see here, this is a little screenshot that I got from one of his YouTube videos. What you can see here is that he's only getting about 420 people as a live attendee from this workshop. Obviously, that's just one of the weeks that he does it because he does it once a month. But that's just 420 people, and he'll simply just make an offer to all those people at once. But the question I had here on this topic in particular was, why turn a YouTube video or something you've given as a lead magnet into a webinar? Like, surely why not just give them the YouTube video or just send them to the YouTube video? Why do it as a webinar? And this is a question that I was asking myself for a while, but it's because webinars have forced consumption, right? So when you join a webinar. Where if you watch a YouTube video, you can click off that YouTube video at any point, but there's something about a webinar being live that makes people stay, keeps people engaged, and you can give people the exact same content, but just get them to self-select and commit some time to actually watch it with you on the webinar, and then make an offer to them rather than them being able to click off it on YouTube at any point. So this is kind of why he's swapping the presentations in and out as he does it, right? But let's talk about the actual funnel. So obviously doing webinars, if you have a personal brand, the amount of signups you're gonna get, the amount of show ups you're gonna get, the amount of conversions you're gonna get is obviously going to be better with an organic audience than it is with a paid audience. That's just the way it is. And luckily for Matt, what he definitely 100% does have, he's got nearly 1 mil on Instagram, nearly 1 mil on LinkedIn, quite a bit on Twitter, and he's growing his YouTube quick as well. Now, what he does is he directs most of his traffic to his newsletter, right? All his lead magnets, all his content, be like, oh, join my free newsletter. But once every 4 weeks, he will swap out the call to action that he has in his, so obviously he's telling people to join his newsletter, he's telling people to watch his YouTube, and he's also telling people to book a consult. But what he will do is every 4 weeks, he will swap out the call to action to book a call to actually get people on a webinar. Not only will he send people to the workshop from his Instagram as well, but what he will do is to everyone on his email list, which has over 100,000 people on his email list, he will simply just send short, snappy emails like this saying that he is doing a live masterclass on how to build a personal brand that fuels my portfolio of businesses without burning out. It's a value proposition that's really enticing to his ICP. These are very simple emails, and all he's doing here is he's trying to get you to sign up for the webinar. He's not trying to sell you on attending it. He's not trying to sell you about what you'll learn and everything. He's simply just trying to get you to register, because once you register, that is when he will then start to nurture you. So the first email that you will get, he will have a flow built out that reminds you of the webinar, creates open loops, tells you what you'll learn, gets you to add it to your calendar. But it's a pretty simple webinar funnel. It's nothing too massively complicated. But one thing that I thought was interesting is the framework that he uses on the actual webinar. So if you know anything about webinars, or you do them yourself, or you're doing this for your clients, or you're just in the info coaching space, you will probably know about Russell Brunson's perfect webinar framework, right? You may also know, if you're a real webinar geek like me, of Jason Fladlyan's 14-step webinar framework. Now, Jason Fladlyan's 14-step webinar framework is the one that I've had the most success with, and that almost everyone I know, info marketers, people in the info industry, coaches, consultants, have had the best results with. But Matt doesn't appear to use either of them. So I actually watched through his webinar and broke down his framework for you just in case you might want to copy it. So he does things kind of similar, but then also kind of not the same. So he will have a hook where essentially what he is doing is his hook was showing the transformation that he had using the mechanisms that he was going to show you. So in this case, he was talking about his content waterfall system. So the system that he uses to turn one piece of content, it's like 14 pieces of content. It sounds like a really good system, but he is showing his transformation. He then goes into the desires using the situation as the desired situation for the viewer. So he knows that his viewers are founders, and these founders want to build a personal brand. But they're founders and they only have maybe an hour a day, if even that, to create content. So what does he do? He shows how he does this, only using an hour a day of his time and then delegating the rest to his team. He then goes into showing how he does it using an unconventional mechanism. So I believe in this example, he was talking about, I grew my audience from X to X, I grew Founder OS from X to X, and I didn't run any paid ads. I went against what everyone told me to do in running paid ads, and I did it purely organically. So it's a bit of a belief breaker that, okay, so everyone thinks that the only way to grow or the only way to get consistent leads or whatever is through paid advertising. But he says, I managed to achieve this. This is what you want, and I did it by going against what other people told me to say, which is a good paradigm shift for them, because now the people in his audience will now start to see that as possible. He then tells them what they'll learn on the webinar, so he's opening the loop. He will then go into the training. He was explaining the mechanisms. He was explaining why it's important. He was explaining the proof that it works, and then he was showing them how they can implement it. Once he had finished the actual training, he summarized it all back into next steps and key takeaways, and then he simply just extended the opportunity to work with him at Founder OS. He just said, if you want to do this quicker and you want to do this with me, which is always a good pitch, because at the end of the day, if the training is good, they can go and do it themselves. But the whole idea is that if they want to do it faster and they want to do it better, then they're going to do it with you. He then goes and talks about who this is for. So I quite like this section because he talks about like, it doesn't matter if you're a service provider, you're an agency owner, you're an info coach, software, whatever, this system can work for you, because everyone on the call might be in a different vehicle and they might think, oh, I'm an agency owner, I don't really know if this will work for me. But by him specifically saying like who this is for and then who this is not for, it kind of triggers that thing in you. It's like, oh, this could actually work for me. Then he pitched booking a call for his high ticket offer. Now, if you've ever watched any of my videos before, you will know I'm a massive proponent for getting people to book a call as opposed to pitching them on the webinar. Now, especially if you are running webinars as frequently as once a month or so, because if somebody joins multiple webinars, then what will start to happen is if they start to notice that you go through the whole thing and then you use the same pitch again and again and again, and you just hard sell them, they will just simply start to feel like you are just constantly selling to them and they won't actually do it. Whereas if you take the approach that Matt does, or kind of the approach that we do with our clients, where we will simply just make it seem like we're extending the opportunity to work with us, as opposed to like hard pitching like our rent is due tomorrow, it means that you also get calls booked in, highly qualified leads who know the price for your higher ticket program. And it's way easier to do in terms of the revenue of a webinar campaign to do high ticket than to do mid ticket and actually pitch it on the call. And also, every single person who books in has just sat through and basically an indoctrination, because that is simply what a webinar is. They know the price, they trust you, they know exactly what they're going to get, and they're just turning up to the call to pay. Like if there wasn't a call, they would just go and pay anyway because they know the price and everything. They might just need to ask a few questions. So you can fill out your calendar for a week, 2 weeks after doing these webinars with booking a call, simply just by taking an hour of your time to do a one-to-many sales presentation. And once he has done the pitch, he will give them some free resources. He'll do a free Q&A, kind of call people to action, tell them to apply and whatever. And that is how his actual webinar goes. But what about the post-webinar flow? So what happens if they didn't attend the webinar? And simply all he will do is he will actually send people the webinar. He will send them the replay, but what he will sneakily do is he will put this hyperlink here as a trigger link inside of ConvertKit. So when you press on it, you then get a different flow that will chase you up and just say like, oh, did you manage to watch the webinar? Like, do you want to book a call or whatever? So he has different email flows for all of this. As you can see here, he'll have that flow. And then if you click the trigger link, it'll put you into a different flow to then get you to book a call. If you did attend, but you didn't buy, what he does is gets his appointment setters to reach out to you via phone, SMS, and they will call you. And I know this because Kaz Noda, his appointment setter, reached out to me via email, SMS, and actually called me here. As you can see, 2 missed calls, right? Now, Matt knows about this. Matt knows about this, right? Because we tell our clients that if they get the follow-up process right and we consult with their appointment setters and we actually get the follow-up process dialed in, we can make more money from the people who we book in from actually reaching out to them than we do for the people who self-booked on the webinar. Therefore, make like 50% more money on the campaign just by following up with them in every means necessary. Now, we make sure that all of our clients do this after every single webinar campaign. And what you will find to happen is that these webinar leads are the warmest leads that you can get in any type of funnel, in any sort of state, right? Which is why you need to be hitting these people with a dial, with an SMS, with an automated email sequence and getting them to book in, because they might just have 1 or 2 questions that you didn't answer on the webinar that is the difference between them buying or not. So Matt has got this process completely dialed in. And if you want us to implement this kind of webinar one-to-many process for your info, your coaching, your consulting business, we do this completely done for you, for our clients. So we'll build absolutely everything out for them, find the best funnel for them, write the script for them, take care of all the copy and everything. The only thing that you have to do is simply record as a VSL, a confirmation video, do some organic content promotion and actually turn up and present the webinar. And that is it. And we take care of absolutely all the rest. So if you're interested, I'll put a link in the description to our full done for you offer if you don't do webinars yet. And if you do webinars yet, we also have an offer where we will beat your control in 2 webinars or less, or you don't have to pay us anything. So if you already have a webinar or you need us to build your webinar, then you can find both links down below. And if you're neither of those and you just want to join the newsletter and get more value, then you can join the newsletter in the link in the description as well. I hope you found this video useful. Go ahead and use some of Matt's insights here for your next webinar campaigns. And I hope you make a lot of money. Take care. Bye-bye.